Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Danielle. For those of you who don't know me, hi, welcome. I'm so glad you stopped by today. Today we're just doing kind of a chit chat, get ready with me. We're talking about what I actually do for a living. I've gotten some questions and some people have kind of assumed some things about what it is that I do. I'm a habilitation provider for individuals on the autism spectrum. I have worked with kids with special needs off and on for the last 10 to 12 years. This is something that's kind of been in my wheelhouse of work for a while, and it is something that I absolutely love doing. It is not an easy job, and it is not something that I take lightly. It is something I'm very passionate about, something that I truly enjoy doing. Another kind of disclaimer is I am probably going to be kind of vague in terms of what I actually kind of talk about and go into detail about, because I actually have to protect my clients' personal information. I can't just give it out. I have to follow HIPAA. I also have to follow what are called Article 9 laws. I live in Arizona, and so Article 9 laws are kind of more based on the idea of treating an individual with special needs as an actual human being. And I actually really enjoy that those laws are the way that they are, because I think that is very important. So I'm just going to kind of get ready and kind of just chit chat with you guys and talk about some of what I do. I do have notes because I wanted to make sure that I stayed with my talking points and I didn't get too far off. And yeah, so we're just going to kind of go into it. So what I perform is an in-home service for individuals with autism. And that is something that that in and of itself is a challenge, being in someone's home. It's hard being in someone's home, and I think a lot of people just assume that I sit on my phone and I text all day and I play games and I do all that. I literally, that is not what I do. I am not a nanny. I am not a babysitter. My job entails so much more than just watching the individuals that I work with, because there's a lot more to it. I actually run goals with these individuals that I work with. I run various types of goals. The types of goals that I run can vary depending on who I'm working with, what client I'm working with, all of that. So the goals are typically in the areas of communication, socialization, gross and fine motor, cognition, and adaptive behavior. So we're really working on so many different things and so many different things at once. And a lot of these are to teach a variety of skills and improve behavior. It's very, very different. And the form of habilitation I actually do is for early childhood currently. I've done some other stuff in the past, but it is what is called applied behavior analysis. So it is a lot of data that we take for a BCBA, which is a behavior specialist. And we just kind of really work with them and work one-on-one and kind of go over the goals, look at the goals, make sure that they're progressing in the goals, and really work on things. And it is a very intensive program. They can start as early as age 2 if they're diagnosed that early. And it is just, it's very intense for that age range, because you're doing a lot of things that I think kind of shocks some parents and things. What I mean is, a lot of times you're in the thick of it when they're having a behavior. You can get hit, kicked, bite, bit. Like, there's all kinds of things that can go on. And it is just, the thing that you have to understand is, if that you're ever going to do this line of work, that child is trying to communicate something. That either they have difficulties communicating, or this is their chosen form to let you know that something set them off. And it's kind of your job to figure out what it is that sets them off. And it is tricky, it is a challenge, but I kind of like that part of it. I kind of like figuring out what's going on. I love the bonding with the kids. That is my absolute favorite. I work with a few individuals now that are just, I love them. And there are good days, there are bad days, but I absolutely love the kiddos I work with. They hold a very special place in my heart, and I don't think I could ever not care for them the way that I do. I think that falling into this line of work has been really good for me. It's helped me see what I want to do. I get to see a lot of their therapies come in and out. A lot of my time is focused on teaching them new skills, but also maintaining the things that they learn in therapies. And I think a lot of habilitation providers just think that they need to just focus on the goals that they have, versus just like looking at the whole child approach. And there was a woman that I worked with a while ago who really kind of focused on the whole child, and that is something that I really respected about her, because it is more than just these goals. It is the whole child. It is what do they want to learn and what do they want to do, and how can we incorporate that with what we have to get done, as well as kind of understanding that you have to work on those things that they're doing in OT and PT, that if they don't get worked on but 1 to 2 hours a week, they're not really going to progress in it. And that is where I've kind of fallen in love with occupational therapy, and just seeing how that changes their lives and seeing what it does for them. Because of that, I really looked into becoming an occupational therapist, and I should be full-time back in school come August, which I'm super excited about, super nervous about, but it's just, I have an absolute love of what I do. And when people just call me a nanny, I'm like, your nanny would not even do half the stuff that I do. They would not put up with half the stuff I've put up with from some of these kiddos. And it's just kind of one of those things. You have to work through some things. You have to break down some walls. You have to understand that they're learning, you're learning, because every single child, every single individual is different, and they have things that work for each of them. There might be things that I do really well with one client, but I struggle with another client, and those are kind of what I enjoy, because you're always adapting. You always have to adapt while you're teaching these children to adapt and to be okay when their schedule is changed for whatever reason. And it is a constant kind of uphill climb, but once you get those things that work for that specific individual, things just kind of click and fall into place, and it is so beautiful to see and so rewarding to do. And I wouldn't say that this job is for everyone. If you are somebody who has a hard time when children don't listen to you, or you are dealing with constant behaviors creeping up and it's just a battle every single day, then I wouldn't say that this is necessarily the job for you. I absolutely love it, and I went to school to actually be a high school teacher. I never thought I was going to work with young children, but that's exactly what I do now, and I have found my happy place. And there have been moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this job? And then there are those moments where it's just so rewarding that it just reminds you why you even took the job in the first place, and why you're working with these individuals, and how much they've changed my life, because that is the most amazing thing ever. I wouldn't have thought that I would have ever wanted to do something like this, or be working in someone's home and working with these kids, but it's seriously been the best thing. Even though there are things that are difficult, you have parents you're not always going to agree with, but the whole point is that you're there for those kids, and that is amazing. Can't believe I'm crying, but it's just one of those things that I have completely fallen in love with and don't even regret doing, even though there are difficult days, and there are days that I want to give up, and there are days that I'm just like, this is not working, or that you just become so routine. You have to shake it up a little bit. You have to change things. You have to try new things, and sometimes those things that you did with one individual does not work with another, and that is completely okay. I just find it's very rewarding to work with one child and see where their growth has come in, and that you help them do that, and that they feel empowered because they can now do something that they might not have been able to do before, or that they feel more confident in certain things, or that they're showing signs of actually verbalizing, or just various things that go into this line of work. And I've worked with high functioning individuals on the autism spectrum as well as lower functioning individuals on the autism spectrum, and I love it. Not every individual is easy. You have some who have more behaviors, you have some who are more difficult just in general, but that's kind of the beauty of it. You work with them when they're young, and you just see so many changes, and it's fun having parents send you pictures and going, look what my kid's doing, and look what, you know, you helped with this, or I can't believe that this is going on. I never thought they'd be able to do this. That is the most amazing thing about this job. And it is just, I just absolutely love the impact you can have on a small child's life and their family's life. It's not just helping that child, it's helping that family. It's making things progress. It's hopefully lessening certain behaviors and reinforcing others and getting them to a place where they are just growing and getting to where they can be the best them, and getting them to a point where whatever their limits are, they can reach those limits, and that they can be a functioning person in certain ways and not let certain things scare them, and just, it's just, I love it. I don't, it's hard for me when people don't understand that it's not just a job you just go into going, oh, I've been a nanny, I can totally do this. No, you want some background in special needs. You want some background in working with individuals with special needs. You want some knowledge there behind you, because you never know what you're going to walk into. There could be days where you just have the best day and the kid's just listening so well and everything's going to plan, and then the next day it is the complete opposite. And one thing triggered them and they are triggered all day, and you're just going to have to work through it. That's the other thing. I legally cannot put them in timeout. I legally cannot deny them anything. You know, if they ask for something and it's something that is going to cause them to inflict pain on themselves, I can't take that away. That's wrong. You can't do that. And that is also something that I really respect about the laws that I have to follow, is it makes you think of things in a different way. And it makes you make sure that you give these individuals choices, because they are people. They want things just like you do. They might not always be able to communicate it in the way you do, but they want things. They have desires for things. They have their own little dreams. They're these little people who should be allowed to make choices for themselves. So in terms of that, like, some of the choices I give, do we want to do this or this after we do this? And I say a lot of things like, first this, then that. That is a huge sentence. Or, you know, oh, I don't like when my friends do da 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 da. Like, it's very trying to reinforce the positive and have those negative reinforcers, because there are negative reinforcers. They can lose things, but there's certain things that they can't. And it just depends on the specific child or the specific individual, because people hold on to things differently and things can cause issues. And it's just more about having that balance and understanding that just because I work with kids, but just because they are special needs does not mean that you can go in and bully them into doing what you want them to, or saying, I'm the boss, I'm in charge, and having an ego about it. You have to really be humble and just have that understanding that you can't just make them do things. You have to gain their trust. You have to. It's hard in the beginning with everyone, because you know, you have to gain your trust. You have walls up too, and it's just kind of, you have to let some things go, because if you can't let it go, then you're going to struggle. And that is something I've learned for just working with individuals with special needs in general, is that if you really befriend them and you really show that you care, they're far more trusting of you, and they're far more willing to do what you're asking of them than you just going in there and going, okay, well, this is what we're doing and this is how we're doing it, and you don't get a choice. That's not fair. You wouldn't like that. That's not what my job is. My job is not to bully these little people into doing what I want them to and doing it how I want them to. And it's more about giving them the ability to do things on their own and making them independent, and, you know, helping them when things are challenging, because there are things that are hard and there are lots of little emotions there, and if you don't respect that and you can't see that they are very similar to just anyone, then you're not doing the job right. And I think there is a lot of compassion that you have to have, and a lot of understanding, because everyone's circumstance is different also with this job. Like, you're going to have some who are just easier to work with than others, and you're going to have some that are going to test you, and they know how to push your buttons, and they are just so smart, and you're just trying to figure out how you can keep up with that. But that is also something that I truly enjoy. Like, it is just, it makes me a better person. It makes me, when I see people who out in life who are obviously on the autism spectrum, or families are out and things are happening, I have more patience and I have more respect for what those families are dealing with, and what, you know, what things are happening. It's a struggle for families. It's a struggle for, you know, anyone with certain things, and you just have to have that kind of compassion. I mean, my job is a lot of compassion. My job is a lot of caring and talking through things and working through things and waiting, and there are a lot of moments where I just sit and I wait, which sometimes I think looks like it's me being harsh, but it's me just literally like, okay, I'm gonna wait you out, and you have some individuals who are gonna wait you out right back. And it becomes kind of a game, and you have to find out what works, and you have to find out how you can get to that child, and how you can make them trust you, and how you can trust them, and just the things that you do with them. And I can't stress enough that you have to care. You have to have a good heart. You have to do your best to connect. If you can't connect, you're not going to get anywhere. And I think a lot of people go into this going, oh, this is going to be easy. This is going to be this. It's easy some days. It's not easy other days. It's worthwhile all at the same time. And I think a lot of people kind of just assume that, like I said in the beginning, I'm just sitting in there on my phone, texting, making sure they're not getting into trouble. That is not at all what I do. Goodness, would that be easy if that's what I did. Also boring. But I seriously have a love for what I do, and I am very thankful to the families that I have worked with and to the individuals I've worked with, and they've just opened my eyes to something I absolutely love doing, and a community that I absolutely love knowing, and just the way how sweet these individuals really are. And once you find that one thing that they absolutely love, and you can kind of use that to help them develop certain skills and just grow, and just to really nurture that. It's something I hope I never lose, because I would be really sad if I did not want to do this. I've worked with kids and done things with kids since I was 12. I've always been involved in working with children, and I always knew I wanted to do something with kids, and I think it's kind of crazy that it took me until I was 28 years old to really find what I wanted, because nothing with teaching was going right. It kept going completely wrong, and yeah. But I am definitely an advocate for individuals on the autism spectrum and individuals with special needs just in general, because I really, 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 really adore them. And I respect the families with their various struggles and various things that they have going on, and wish more people would take the time to educate themselves and grow and understand what some of these families kind of deal with on a daily basis. And that they're just trying to make it, and just trying to understand their own child, and just trying to find what works for them and what works for their child. Because it's not as simple as some people seem to think, and I think that can be eye-opening for some people. And it's just one of those things that is very near to me, and I don't ever want to not be doing what I'm doing. So the reason I kind of made this video is because I had a few people various different places kind of go, what is it you do? I don't understand. What is that? You know? And that's why I did it. But I also kind of wanted to make a point that I'm not ever planning on making YouTube a full-time job. YouTube is fun for me, but there are more important things that I do outside of YouTube that have really kind of helped my worldview, kind of helped me become who I am, and are just so much more than just me doing makeup. There is a lot outside of my makeup world and my makeup channel, and I just kind of wanted to invite you guys in a little bit and kind of explain what it is that I actually do with my life. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you do have any questions, you can leave them down below and I can answer them to the best of my ability. I don't know everything. I'm just gonna be completely honest, but the things that I do know, I will gladly answer, or I will look up answers, or I will ask someone who has more knowledge than I do. Well, thank you guys again. I do hope you have a wonderful day, night, wherever you are, and bye!